Hey guys, it's the Lerms coming at you with another pre-game primer for this week's game against Stanford. We are going against Stanford at home. The Cardinal come in with a record of 3-2, and we come in with a record of 2-4. So it's going to be a very interesting game. This game usually has playoff implications because either Stanford or Notre Dame, or both, are usually ranked each year, but this year both of them are unranked and are struggling a little bit after the past few games. With Stanford, they started out pretty strong at 3-0, and then the past two games, they have been absolutely demolished, to put it nicely. They lost big to both Washington and Washington State. So they're looking to this game as a pick-me-up for the rest of the season, and to try to improve. And of course, with the Fighting Irish, we are looking to continually try to find a way to win. It's been a struggle. Last week, it was difficult because there was, hurricane conditions on the field, basically with Hurricane Matthew coming down the coast. But you can't use that as an excuse, because both teams had to play in it. And, North Carolina State did what they needed to do to win the game. They won because of a blocked punt that scored the only touchdown in the game, so they won 10-3. So overall, our offense just didn't do anything much with the ball. They struggled, and I'm hoping that this game, it's going to be the opposite, and Deshaun Kaiser will be able to air it out a little bit, and maybe our rushing game will get back on track. Just to kind of look at some stats to compare the two teams. So in total yards of offense, we average about 432 yards of offense, with 282 yards being passing and 150 yards being rushing. So we obviously rely heavily on the throwing skills of Deshaun Kaiser, and I'm hoping that this game we kind of, establish the run a little bit more. I know our offensive line is, a little young, and we have several new starters, but we really need to get that run established so that we can put some of the pressure off of Kaiser. And then on the other side of the ball, Stanford averages about 307 yards 307 yards total offense each game, with 166 yards passing and 141 yards rushing. So they're a little more balanced, even though the passing total usually is a little higher. So they're struggling with a new quarterback this year, I think. And their most dynamic player really is their running back, McCaffrey. And it's going to be an interesting game if he's not cleared for the game. He actually got injured in the second half of the Stanford-Washington State game with an undisclosed injury. So we'll have to see if he is able to play. He's a very dynamic player, and I remember, the past couple of years he's been, been utilized, and I think he was second in Heisman voting last year, actually. So that's a big hit for Stanford if he's not able to play. And then on the defensive side, our defense actually did better last week. Granted, it was in rainy conditions and windy conditions, but, our defense only gave up 3 points. I'm not giving them that punt block because, that wasn't something the defense was responsible for, but they gave up 3 points and a lot less yardage, and they were able to tackle a little better, and prevent North Carolina State's potent offense from really taking off. So that was good news. Our average now for yards allowed per game is 417, with 236 passing yards allowed and 181 rushing yards allowed, which is still kind of a concern because, having that many yards allowed for rushing just really opens up a lot of opportunities for the other team if they can capitalize on it. So hopefully our tackling is a little better, and we are shooting the gaps and stopping the runners from going right through them. On the Stanford side, they allow 379 yards per game, with 259 passing yards allowed and 120 rushing yards allowed, which means that they are pretty stout on rushing defense. So we are really going to need to do a good job establishing the run. But I'd like to see a little more running, straight through the defense, just some power football. I think we need to do that and establish that kind of running. And I think we can have some success if we run to the left side of our offensive line. So hopefully that's in the game plans, and hopefully DeShone Kizer's not throwing the ball like 45 times in the game, because that would be pretty bad, I think. You put a lot of pressure on him, and he hasn't been able to be mistake free this year, which has been a problem. So hopefully he's not having to throw it that much, because you could have interceptions, you could have fumbles, that sort of thing. So I think some of the keys to this game are, for Notre Dame, is our defense going to be good, to be honest? Is our defense going to be able to step it up? Are they going to be able to tackle better? They've shown progress in the past couple of weeks. Are we going to continue to be able to improve? Are we going to be able to push through Stanford's offensive line and get some pressure on the quarterback and create some sacks? It took us a long time to get our first sack. And since then, we've gotten a couple of more, and we've been getting a little more pressure on the quarterback, which is signs of improvement. And Stanford, actually, they are 104th, and have a record of 16 sacks allowed, which is a lot. And hopefully, we'll be able to take advantage of that and put some pressure on their offensive line and their quarterback. And that always creates good opportunities if you could be able to do that. My second key to the game, I think, is DeShone Kizer. He's a dynamic playmaker, but he needs to be able to be mistake-free. He needs to not throw any interceptions, take care of the football, don't fumble it. It should be a little easier because there's not rainy conditions, and the ball's not slippery, and the ground's not slippery. So hopefully he can do a little better this game and really direct the offense to where it needs to go. And my third key to the game is actually Stanford's running back. If he is out of the game, I think Stanford will really struggle because he is a dynamic running back and can really do a lot of damage. But if he doesn't play, I think that we will be able to contain, their backup running back. I didn't even look up who it was. But hopefully he does play. I want to see a good game between Notre Dame and Stanford. I mean, I don't wish for other players to be out, due to injuries or other things. I want to see a good game. But that will be a key to the game if he is actually active or not for the game. So this game in particular, every year it holds a bigger importance to me, at least. Me and my childhood best friend growing up, Marissa, have had a long-standing bet on this game. She went to Stanford for her undergrad, and I, of course, went to Notre Dame for my undergrad. So, we've bet each other each year, just, a dinner. If my team wins, she gets to buy dinner, that sort of thing. So it worked out when I was going to college, right? Because Notre Dame was doing pretty well. And then since then, it's been kind of a toss-up. Stanford has been really good the past few years. So, I'm hoping this will be a good game, a good rivalry game. And, for my prediction, I'm actually going to, pick Notre Dame. No surprise. I'm going to say that the score is actually going to be 35-14. So I say that because I'm going to say that McCaffrey's not going to be in the game. And without him, I think Stanford's going to really struggle with their offense. And I think that our defense is finally getting things together. And I think that Brian Kelly is actually starting to take some of the blame for the team's performance, which is kind of the first step in uniting the whole team. And I'm hoping that everything's just, coming together. And, last week maybe it was just because of the weather and you just have to forget about that game. But I think we can play a lot better than we've been playing. I don't think we're a 2-4 team. I think, we're a solid bowl game team at the very least. So I'm expecting us to climb back up and, at least get to a bowl game. Hopefully it's not, one of the toilet bowl games. Maybe we can win out for the rest of the season and get a pretty decent bowl game. I don't know. But, I'm hoping that things will improve, and I'm hoping for a good result. So, 35-14, Notre Dame. That's what I'm thinking. So, Marissa, that's dinner. You gotta buy me dinner, hopefully. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's a good game, and I will talk to you guys after the game for the kind of the wrap up of or the recap of the game, and hopefully it's a good result. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a fantastic day, and as always, go Irish.